A Night with Diddy. Hey bro, you got your iPod? I looked behind me to see Zay, who had tapped my shoulder, sprawled out with a Four Loko. Hey, you got that game? Hate it, I love it? Yeah, I got you. This was the life. So glad I didn't have to worry about scratched CDs anymore. Yo, how much that cost? Los asked, looking over. Even though he hadn't glanced for long, I was still nervous. He had been drinking just as much as we had before we left. I wondered if we would get pulled over by how much he swerved. Like $300. Dad got it for me as a graduation gift. Said I might want it in Cali. This area of the highway was filled with construction, making the fast lane more narrow than the rest. Los hugged the left concrete divider. That's cool as hell. Wish my mama got me some shit like that. Maybe when we graduate next year. He squinted as he gripped the steering wheel, taking another swig from the drink beside him. I felt the seat pull back. Out my peripheral, I could see Zay propping up. Bro, can you believe it? This time next year we'll be applying for jobs. His breath reeked of alcohol. Los turned to look at Zay. Yeah, but let's focus on now, that we all 21. Happy birthday, Jay. Even though I smiled, I hoped he paid more attention to the road than me. Thanks, bro. Ooh, watch out for the white car. Los looked over. I could tell he was faded. Chill, nigga, I got this. Los sped up and passed the white Camry. A big green sign that read Century City passed on the right. The backseat of the car lit up before Zay put his phone down. Yo, the party back at the dorm's jumping right now. Oh well, we can just check it next week for the Independence Day party. When is an SDSU party? Not good, I thought. Oh, I can't go to that shit, Lo said. I gotta go home for a family reunion. Shit, it's not like you'll be missing anything, Zay said. Wish we had family reunions in Vegas. Los peeked in the rear view. Yeah, but that 4-hour drive is crazy. Anyway, you sure it's gonna be packed tonight? I leaned toward the window, feeling Zay's hot breath on my neck and ear. Yeah, dude, it's the BET Awards. It should be finishing up, and I remember my brother telling me how it's popping on award nights especially. Can't get too crazy, Lo said. Still gotta drive back. Oh, we can stay at my mom's place again. Doesn't she live in Culver City? Bro, it's not that far. Definitely not as far as driving all the way back to San Diego. And plus my brother's on deployment, so I'll take his room and you can sleep in mine. Los perked up. Oh shit, that's right. How long he gonna be gone for? 7 months, so he should be back in August. He left in February right after Bush got elected again. Damn, he'll be straight, dog. After taking another gulp, Zay looked over at me. You okay, bro? I shrugged. Los looked over. Bro, don't tell me you still thinking about that bitch Octavia. I looked down at my phone. No new messages. Zay tapped him on the shoulder. Chill, bro. They were together since we've known them. I could tell Zay cared. I could tell they both cared. Yeah, I'm good. They looked at each other. Yo, how's she gonna break up with you because of the distance? Los asked. Like Arizona so far away. She act like she live on the East Coast or something. I shook my head. And didn't she fly out like every weekend to visit? I nodded. Yeah. Don't worry, bro. You'll get some tonight. It's way too many fine girls out here. Yeah, but Jay was with Octavia since they were in high school, Zay said. So it makes sense that he feels bad, you know. Wait, didn't you say she was your first? I took a deep breath. Yeah, we met when we were both sophomores. For the next few seconds, no one spoke as Ludacris's #1 Spot song played. Los turned the music down. Hold up, hold up. He looked over to Jay before doing a double take. So if she was your first and you just broke up, then that means she was your only one? Zay's eyes got bigger. I took a deeper inhale, running my hands through my hair. Yep. Damn, they said in unison. Oh yeah, we gotta get you some tonight, Lo said. Before long, we were pulling into the Century Club parking lot. The place was filled with people and cars. Two large doormen stood at the entrance while a line that stretched around the building waited to be let inside. After gulping the last of his drink and setting it down, Lowe's looked over. "Hey yo, we here, y'all. You ready, Jay?" Forcing a smile, I nodded and opened the door. "Let's do it," I said. Lowe's and Zay skipped as they approached the beautiful women eyeing them while I did my best to pick up my feet. We finally reached the end of the line and stood. Zay clapped me on the shoulder and grinned. "Trust me, Jay. By the end of the night, you won't even remember your ex's name." I could feel the vibration from the bass inside. It didn't take as long as I expected because we were only in line for a few minutes before we got to the front. I can't tell you how good it felt for them to look at my ID and be let in. We made a beeline to the bar and honestly waited longer for drinks than to get in the club. I didn't mind though because this sexy ass girl stood in front of me waiting too, and the view from the back was more than enough entertainment for me. It was packed shoulder to shoulder, but we finally got our drinks. Afterwards, we found a little corner by the dance floor. Zay raised his glass. To being 21 in a night we'll never forget. We clinked our glasses and downed the first round. Man, that was strong. A few rounds later, we were in the middle of the dance floor. Bro, I had all but forgotten about my ex by the time Drop It Like It's Hot came on. It was like every girl in the club just dropped and started twerking, like throwing it. Zay tried to get behind one, but she threw him off. I guess it was a little too much for him to handle, but me and Lowe's couldn't stop laughing. As Zay got up, Lovers and Friends came on. It was still one of the hottest songs, just not one to turn up to. Since we didn't have anyone, we turned to go back to the bar. This was when three fine-ass girls came up to us. Layla, a light-skinned girl, smiled, leaning a little closer. "Where you guys from?" "We go to SDSU," I said. "You?" "We work in the music industry. Tonight's our night off." Her friend, a dark-skinned girl with tattoos, took a step forward, locking eyes with Los. "Oh, you fine," Chrissy said. Los approached until they were nearly nose to nose. How she could bear the vodka emanating from his mouth, I have no idea. "What's up then?" he replied. Zay reached his arm out toward the other friend, Monique. A thin Armenian girl wearing leggings, and we could see she had a nice ass. Like not too big, not too small, but fit, like one of those South American women. "Hey, I'm Xavier, but my friends call me Zay." Monique shook his hand and looked him up and down. "Damn, so all y'all fine? I know who I'm going home with tonight." Her friends chuckled. "Chill, girl," Layla said. "Hey, we got a table if you guys want to come up," as if that was even a question. We sat down and tried to communicate over the music. I felt like a king sitting above everyone else walking by and looking up at us. Are they famous? I bet they were thinking. Monique was all over Zay while Chrissy poured Cristal in Los's mouth. Luckily, the girls picked up the tab. Another hour flew by like nothing, and by the end of it, Layla leaned into my chest. "We're headed to an after party. You guys down?" "Where at?" "So P. Diddy rented out a place in Holmby Hills." "What? You mean Biggie Mace P. Diddy?" She smiled and nodded. It didn't take much convincing for Zay and Lowe's. We followed the girls out and headed to the parking lot before the three of us piled back into Lowe's car to follow them. Traffic littered the drive from the Century Club to Holmby Hills. I could tell Lowe's was in no position to drive. None of us were. We got off on an exit and followed them into a quiet neighborhood. It didn't take a millionaire to tell our car was the cheapest on the block. "Damn, do all the actors live here?" Los asked. "Which house is it?" Zay asked. "I don't know. They said it was a mansion." "Which one?" Los chuckled. "I'm just trying to keep it together until we get there. You think they'll let us in for real?" "I hope so. That girl Chrissy bad as fuck." Ahead of us, Layla's car slowed, turning into a massive driveway flanked by stone pillars. An iron gate loomed in front, opening just as we pulled in behind them. The place looked more like a palace than a house, with perfectly manicured lawns, fountains, and paths that disappeared into the shadows. Lights illuminated parts of the estate, casting a soft glow. I cannot fucking believe this, Zay said. We parked behind them as the gate shut. The girls stepped out of their car, and we followed. Layla glanced back and smiled at me, slowing down to wait. Monique took a hold of Los's arm.
This shit fun, trust me, she said.
We nodded, and they led us toward the entrance. A 6'5" security guard wearing a Sean John jacket stood by the door, his arms crossed over his chest. Chrissy waved.
They're with us, she said.
He gave the boys a look over before nodding and stepping aside to let us pass.
Damn right, bitch.
Anyway, the door opened, and we went down this long hallway. As big as that place was, I'm surprised it could fit that many people in. I heard the song Nasty Girl playing when we entered the main living room. The girls walked in first, smiling, and glanced back at us. I've been in some nice houses, but I never seen no shit like this. We walked across the marble floor and sat on one of a pair of plush white couches. Above us hung a golden chandelier which lit up the entire room. Huh? Layla asked. So how you know P. Diddy? I repeated. Damn, this place was louder than the club. Oh well, like I said, we work in the music industry, so, you meet people. I looked over to see Zay's lips locked with Monique's, who had her hand in his lap. Los tapped me on the shoulder. Oh shit, is that who I think it is?
Hell nah, I said.
I couldn't believe it. One of my favorite rappers from St. Louis ordered a drink feet away. Oh, you think I should get an autograph? Nah, he probably chillin'.
Hold on, Layla said.
She grabbed my hat off the table before getting up and walked over to him.
Who the hell was she?
And they hugged like she knew him. I felt like I hit the lottery. She pointed over to our couch and he glanced over and smiled before nodding his head and looking back to her. A few moments later, she returned with my hat, signed underneath the brim. Damn, that's crazy. Thank you. Layla waved it off and rolled her eyes.
You good. I've known him for years.
She told me that she had worked as an A&R assistant with the other girls for this big label. While we spoke, Zay and Monique distracted me. Without a care in the world, they dry humped across from us. I heard Lowe's invite Chrissy to his family reunion in Vegas next week.
I was surprised she could even understand his ass by how much he slurred.
I stood up, letting Layla's arm slip off me. I gotta use the bathroom real quick.
You know where it's at?
After she pointed me in the direction, I walked out and into the wide hallway. Along the walls were dim lights and portraits that seemed straight out of an art gallery. I almost reached the bathroom when I heard something coming out of one of the rooms to my left. The door was closed with no one else around. Pushing my ear against it, I recognized the sound. That's right, bitch, a man said. Eat that dick up. Smack her ass, Brian, another said. Ooh, fuck harder, a woman moaned. What the fuck, I thought. I wanted to keep listening, but someone had come around the corner, so I bent down, pretending to tie my shoe. After they walked past, I really did have to pee, so I kept it moving. The bathroom by itself looked like a damn mini spa, all gold faucets and granite counters. So I did my business and left. While walking back down the hallway, the moaning door opened a few feet in front of me. I slowed down, pretending to look at my phone. I had to see who was in this room. You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So a guy with his arm around the girl's shoulder walked out first. I recognized him instantly. He was the lead singer of a popular R&B group. The girl smiled and the two laughed as they walked in front of me. Just before I got to the open door, my heart almost stopped when I saw who came out the room next. The rest of the R&B group.
When I got back, I pointed her out to Los and told him. Shit, she fine too.
I guess you never know, he said. A few minutes later, Zay kicked Los's foot and nodded behind him. Los turned around, and when he turned back, his eyes were wide. He then nudged my arm with his.
Jay, look!
I turned to see a black girl in black lingerie facing away, talking to a group of guys. Even though I could only see her from behind, she looked familiar and had a tattoo on her left shoulder. Where had I seen that before? She turned to the side and I almost dropped my drink to see one of my favorite porn stars. She's black with huge boobs and really nasty. Don't get me wrong, when we were together, I liked being with Octavia. It's just that she didn't really have that kind of wild side. While I got distracted by the actress, Layla pulled something out of her purse.
Ooh, yeah, girl, Monique said.
She jumped up, running over to Layla, and Chrissy soon followed. I looked over to see what they were doing. Layla opened a small bag and began to pour it on the table. She pulled out her credit card and started cutting lines while Monique pulled out a $20 bill and rolled it. Layla looked up, pausing. "You guys want some too?" she asked. We all declined, and the girls proceeded to do it in front of us. Even though he said no, I could tell Zay wanted to. After they got done, we kept talking like nothing happened.
"You are so damn sexy," Layla said.
I mean, I always thought I was pretty decent, but okay. She was the finest girl I ever talked to. And she had money too? God is good. What kind of women do you like, Jarvis?
What do you mean, like looks?
I meant everything. Oh yeah, well, I'm looking at you and you're quickly becoming my preference. I made her smile. What about you? I like you and I like guys who are open-minded. What you mean? You don't know what open-minded means? Layla smirked. No, I mean open-minded in reference to what? Get your bitch ass away from me.
We turned to see a black actor shoving a smaller man away.
Hey man, chill. Ain't no chill. You come near me again and I'ma slap the shit out of you. The man threw his hands up and walked away. The actor eyed him before shaking his head and resuming his conversation, one hand holding his tequila. What the fuck? Zay turned back and asked. Was he really gonna slap that guy? Me and Lowe's looked at each other, shaking our heads. Hell nah, Lowe's said. He way too cool. This girl took me to go see him in this movie a few months ago where he taught dudes how to date.
I don't know.
He looked pretty serious. Nah, he's way smarter than that, I said.
He's got way too much to lose with all the movies he's been in.
But if it was serious, he probably having a bad day or something. A few minutes after the incident, the lights dimmed and the music lowered. Everyone began to quiet. I glanced over to see, stepping in from a side entrance, a man dressed in a sleek black suit.
It was Diddy.
People took pictures, including me with my razor. He stopped in the middle and held up a hand. Even the walls seemed to hold their breath. Okay, listen up, so no more P. Diddy. Just Diddy. This is how we party. Whatever you want, as much as you want. Enjoy yourselves. Oh, and yeah, I almost forgot. He motioned to a group of 5 white women standing near the back of the room. Meet my new girl group, he said. Y'all gonna hear a lot about them. They smiled and gave a little wave before walking off. All right, thanks, girls, he said.
Look, like I said, have fun. And if you need anything, and I mean anything,
he smirked, his eyes moving from side to side.
Just ask.
Now let's get this party going. The music turned back up and everyone applauded. I couldn't believe it was him. I'd never even seen a celebrity in person until then. Well, not Diddy famous. Someone came up to him, but he waved him off. It surprised me when he turned to walk in our direction.
Ain't no way.
For a moment it seemed like he looked right at me. Lowe shot me a wide-eyed look. No fucking way, Zay said. But it was true. He stopped right in front of our couch. Hey, what's going on, baby? He leaned down to hug each of the girls, giving them a kiss on the cheek. How you been? You enjoying yourself? You know it, Monique said, sticking her tongue out. Diddy smiled, looking her up and down. Yes, this even better than the last one, Layla said. Diddy nodded. That's what's up. I'm glad you're enjoying it. He turned to look at us. What's up, fellas? He shook our hand, and when it was my turn, I thought I'd hyperventilate.
How you liking my party, Daddy? Man, I ain't never been in no shit like this, Lo said.
It's an honor to meet you. Yeah, we really appreciate it, I said.
Okay, good. His eyes shifted to Zay while Monique sat on his lap. What about you, Daddy? He smiled. I see my girl Neek getting you right.
Zay and Monique chuckled as she cupped her breasts with his hands. Best night of my life, Zay said.
We all laughed.
So where are you boys from?
They go to SDSU, Layla said.
He nodded, raising his eyebrows.
That's what's up. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like them college boys. They get wild and crazy. Y'all sure know how to party.
Well, any friend of these beautiful young ladies is a friend of mine. You welcome at any of my parties. Hope you're enjoying this one. We all nodded and raised our drinks. Alright, I gotta talk to a few people. He waved, then turned to leave. Before walking away, he leaned over Monique, placing a hand on her shoulder and whispered something in her ear. She smiled, nodding. His lips curled while letting his hand drift across the back of her neck before pulling away and leaving. Damn, so you really do know Diddy, I said. Layla threw her head back, running her fingers through her hair.
I told you.
The girls led us on a tour of the mansion, one room after another. The library was bigger than anyone I'd ever been in, and I don't know how they got a fountain in the elevator. We walked past a gym that looked like it had never been used. The bathroom they showed us toward the end had a shower space 3 times the size of our dorms. Los looked over. Shit crazy, bruh. I nodded before we exited, walking down the hallway and reaching a different room. Beds filled it, at least 10. In front stood a projector that stretched from the floor to the ceiling and wall to wall. The speakers blasted as it played Drop It Like It's Hot. Chrissy smiled, throwing her ass against Lowe's. People drank and laughed, sprawled out on each mattress. Some were in pairs, some groups. Layla grabbed my hand and we all headed to the few remaining vacant beds on the far end. I followed her, plopping beside her as she kept dancing, bouncing on the mattress. Next to us, Monique and Zay had taken the bed on the left while Chrissy dragged Lowe's onto the one on our right. Toast to you being so damn handsome, Layla said. She raised her glass of tequila, clinking it with my Jack Daniels and Coke, and we drank. Toast to you being even finer than the girl on the screen, I said.
She giggled.
As I pulled the glass from my lips, she looked even better than ever. I sat it down, nearly spilling it on a nightstand. The shapes and colors of the projector began to blend, causing me to blink. Los's eyes were halfway closed, and Zay seemed to be getting more and more loud.
As Sierra's O song ended,
I really thought that I had too much to drink when I looked to see what the next video would be. I squinted, blinked, squinted, then blinked again before looking at Layla, who wrapped another blunt. I had already by this point caught contact high.
Maybe that was it.
Hey. She looked up at me, raising her eyebrows. I widened my eyes, turning them to the screen and then back to her. Is that? She looked to her right, smiled, cocked her head to the side, and looked at me.
Chill, baby. This is how the parties go. Just go with it.
I looked over to see if my friends noticed. Zay not only had noticed,
but was actually watching the porn that was playing on the screen while getting head from Monique.
I swear I only looked for a sec, but let's just say if Layla is as good as her friend seemed in that split second.
I know this will be the best night of my life.
Chrissy cracked up at whatever joke Lowe's had made. Nobody else seemed to care either and kept talking, laughing like this was just another part of the night. A few moments later, Monique reached over, tapping Layla on the shoulder and handed her something. You want some? Layla asked, opening her hand to reveal 2 multicolored pills.
What's that? It's X.
It'll make you feel really good. We can take one together. I gotta be honest. I never did drugs before. It's cool. It's not dangerous or anything. If it was, do you think I'd be doing it? I looked over to see Lowe's already doing that with Chrissy. Zay seemed drunker than any of us. Monique took the blunt out of her mouth and put it in his.
Since when did he smoke, I wonder?
Layla bit down on one of the pills and handed me the other half of it. Here. I took a look, pulling it to my face. It reminded me of a sweet tart.
What it's gonna do? I don't want to go crazy.
She scooted toward me. Look, you won't go crazy. I'll do it right here with you. Trust me, you won't regret it. She popped it in her mouth, chasing it with her drink. See? Layla grabbed my hand, taking my half and putting it in her mouth. She clutched my chin, pulling our faces together while looking into my eyes and smiling. How could I resist? After opening her mouth, I felt the pill go in mine. While we kissed, it swished around and she picked up my glass, with what was left in it, pulled back and poured it into my open lips. Before I could even swallow, her tongue was back, dancing with mine. I felt it go down my throat and my heart beat fast. We continued to make out and I felt like I sunk into the mattress. After about 15 minutes, my toes started to tingle. Slipping my socks off the side, I grew warm. Not a bad warm. It was like God wrapped his arms around me, giving me the best, most sincere hug I ever got, and didn't know I needed. I drifted off, looking into the ceiling. Zay sniffed coke off of Monique's nipple, but I didn't care. I just felt love.
Layla caressed my cheek.
This sent chills throughout my body. You okay, baby? She asked. I looked up to see what looked like an angel. Yes, I never felt so. Smack it. My head swayed toward the voice before my eyes settled on a bed near the center of the room. A man stood on the floor behind a woman. She knelt on the bed, bent over and facing away as he pounded from behind, watching the orgy on the big screen.
The others in the room seemed more interested in the real action than what the projector showed. "You go, girl," Monique yelled. "I know that's right," Chrissy said. Layla grabbed my arm.
"You okay, baby?" I turned back toward her. "Oh, yeah, my bad. I just feel like I'm in heaven. My whole body feel like it's vibrating, but in a good way." "I know what you mean," she smiled, laying her head on my chest. A second later, I felt my belt become undone before her warm hand slipped down my pants. It felt like hundreds of roses were exploding from my body as I took a deep inhale. I thought I was in love.
As she played with me and we watched other people play, I saw something.
Out my peripheral, Monique, who only donned a bra and panties, took Zay's hand and led him out the room. I guess they needed more privacy.
About damn time, I thought.
Not long after, Chrissy did the same with Los. He smiled and dapped me up as they walked past. It felt like my body shook when our fists touched. After they left, we continued to talk. I reached over to get another drink, surprised to see the couple, if they were a couple, that had been having sex before and sprawled out like someone threw them there. The girl's body rested halfway off the bed, her torso the only thing keeping her up, while her companion didn't even make it as he lay on the floor. Some people just can't handle their alcohol, I thought.
Minutes later, one of the doors opened.
The porn star from earlier walked over to our bed. Layla pulled her hand out of my pants and smiled back as she approached. She sat on the edge, letting her eyes dart to the print in my pants and back to my date. All she had on was blue pasties and matching G-string. "Hey girl, what you got going on? You working or playing tonight?" Layla giggled. "A little bit of both." "This is my friend Jay. He's cute, isn't he?" The actress took a long look at me and licked her lips.
"Ooh, yeah, girl, look like he packing too." Layla laughed,
nodding while her friend fixated her eyes below my waist. I started to blush. "His name is Jay. Well, Jarvis, but he goes by Jay." We watched as she popped not half but a whole X-pill into her mouth. She's gonna have a good night, I thought. We sat on the bed, the three of us, as she began to critique the scenes playing.
"You see him? When we worked together, his tongue game was crazy."
Layla looked over and back at the man with the 9.5-inch penis on screen.
"Who's the biggest you've had?" "Wesley, girl, and that's not even hard, no pun intended." They laughed.
"Yeah, he looked like he can put it down. I need a man with stamina," Layla said. "Shit, me too, but I'm a freak, so I like freaky niggas." I reached down to check my phone.
Neither Los or Zay texted me.
When I put my phone down, I looked up, realizing that every person on the other beds were either making out or having sex. Layla turned to me. "What about you, baby? What do you like?" Her friend's mouth opened a bit. I'd never been this honest and open with anyone since Octavia, but for some reason I felt like I could tell them anything. "I like 69 and doggy style." They looked at each other and smiled. Layla put a hand on my thigh, rubbing it. "Ooh, I like that," Layla said. As she released her hand, her famous friend bit her lip. "That's so fucking sexy," she said. Layla and the performer looked at each other. She grabbed Layla's hair, pulling it back. Layla smiled as the woman stuck her tongue in her mouth. With the other hand, she massaged Layla's breast. Layla grabbed my hand and put it on her other breast. I scooted over and the three of us kissed. It was like time was moving in slow motion as our hands explored each other. Layla pulled back. "Do you want to go somewhere private?" she asked. I nodded with a grin that made my eyes crinkle. Her friend got up. "Hold on, let me look." We watched as she left the room, not waiting for the door to close to resume our kiss. 2 minutes later, she came back and sat, leaning forward. "Okay, so most of the rooms are full, but there's one if you don't mind a little company," she said. "I don't think I mind anything at this point," I said. They laughed and we took one last drink before leaving.
"I guess drinks taste different when you're high."
They led me out the room and into the hallway. We speed walked up the stairs, bypassing the elevator and down another hall. Before we arrived at the end, we entered another room. It had a bed that stretched within 6 inches of 3 of the 4 walls. I couldn't see anything besides the glow of the big screen, which was also playing porn. I had to recheck my eyes and take a step closer to the TV. I guess they ran out of videos for people because the video that was on showed 2 guys and a girl together, except they were all playing together. I don't know how I would have acted if I didn't take the ecstasy, but for some reason I didn't care. Within 3 steps, we were already at the bed, set to fit 20, and they pushed me down. "I can't wait to ride that dick," Layla said. "College boys' dicks taste delicious," the star added. My dick felt like it would burst out of my pants. I looked across the room and noticed a few more people on the other side of the bed, but couldn't see who. As they took my shirt off, I saw a DVD player with what looked like a hole near the TV. On a shelf connected to the wall, there were at least 20 bottles of Astroglide. Under that, on another black shelf, I saw all types of sex toys. They pulled my boxers down and got undressed. We slid away from the edge toward the center. This was when I got a better view of the other people in the room. "What? How drunk was I? Is that? He looked over in our direction. "Yep, it was." Diddy was getting head from one of the new band girls he introduced earlier. But she wasn't the only one with her mouth on his dick. I kept having to do double takes because I didn't believe it. A dude was right there with her, going to town, but he was turned away from me. Diddy looked over and smiled before looking back down at the guy and rubbing his head. My eyes drifted to another woman underneath the guy. She was sucking his dick at the same time, and when his leg moved, I got a glimpse of her face. Mine froze when I realized it was Monique. I tried to focus on Layla and her experienced friend working their mouths south of my chest, but was mesmerized. I looked again at the foursome, which is when the guy stopped and turned around. What I saw made me go limp, and I thought I would die of shock. It was Zay. He smiled at me before turning back around and going to town on the superstar. Since when was he gay, I thought. The room around me seemed to fade away and I couldn't move or speak. Disclaimer: this is a purely fictional story. No person, place, or thing was based on any real event.